Alrighty, welcome to Supernatural Signals, My Haunted Journal edition. If you're new here, this is just where I casually yap about what's going on in my life, especially anything supernatural I'm experiencing. I also share channel updates, everyday life with my boyfriend, whose nickname is Kermie, and thoughts on things in the media like true crime, though the supernatural is usually the main focus. On this channel, you'll find three types of content: this haunted journal series, short mini mysteries, which you can find over at my shorts tab, and longer investigative deep dive videos. So if you're interested in any of those type of things, please consider subscribing. Alrighty, so let's get into it. Okay, as always, we're gonna go ahead and jump into like entertainment things and updates on my life and updates on the channel, get those things out of the way, and then move into I'm going to talk about the David case on here and maybe some paranormal stuff, but I am still working. Promise is in process. Updates on all the spooky stuff that's happening with me. But I just want to have a separate video to keep up with the David case because there's a lot going on with that. So let's get into what I've been doing. Not much. Kermie and I were dog sitting yesterday, and we kind of had a night to ourselves and just yeah, it was nice. We ordered pizza and ate, and then we got some, I don't know, fried ravioli with it, and we hung out, and it was very nice. And um, so yeah, and then we're also kind of looking to find a new place to live. It's not a rush or anything like that. We're just, and stuff like that always gives me anxiety. Kermie seems fine with it. But I just, stuff like that just shit. So we're really just like at the beginning process of that. So that's been kind of keeping us occupied. And yeah, and then just job work and all that stuff. So starting some new projects there. So yeah, just going with the flow. So that's been going on. Buddy and Kitty have been good. Buddy's outside right now. He's in his little yard. So Kitty's been a little bit more adventurous lately. Usually she just likes to stick in my room, and then the bathroom area is kind of like an extended it's like a hallway and like a big bathroom area. And she likes to stick to there. She's welcome to leave, but she's a mama's girl. She likes to be things. She like that cat has so much attachment. Like if I'm like out in the living room too long or in the kitchen, all of a sudden I hear her meow, and then I'll come in. She'll just be sitting on the bed like hello. Like she doesn't like to be alone, but she only really likes me and Kermie. I mean, that's not true. If other people like pet her and stuff like that, she's actually really sweet. But she's like really attached to us. Oh, she's actually a sweetie. But and Buddy loves everyone as long as he thinks you're cool, and he's in his home and he feels comfy. But yeah, he's hanging out right now. I let him out so he could go pee and stuff. But yeah, other than that, nothing too exciting. Trying to think. I've been playing the new mouse P.I for Hire. There's been a lot of controversy with the reviews because IGN apparently they kind of trashed it. They gave it a 6 out of 10, and then the reasoning behind it were kind of stupid. Like it felt like rage bait, but it felt like the guy didn't realize he was doing rage bait, or like or he put the little extra sauce on it, or I don't know. You do clicks reviews or whatever. Like that's what review sites are. Like I don't know, but it's funny because now people are doing reviews on his reviews and making content out of that. Like it's 2026, you can make content out of everything nowadays, and it's funny. It's kind of funny to watch because people were like, because like one of the complaints. Sorry, Kitty just jumped on the bed inside too. Yes, ma'am. She's fine. I promise. She's just a very vocal cat. Just letting people know that stumble across these videos, she's not crying and like because she's upset or anything. She just that's Kitty. Yeah, she's okay though. But so she's a tortoise, if you didn't know. But people were making reviews on the reviews and then reviews on top of the reviews, like very inceptionist. And it's funny. Like I know people, like some of them are taking it really seriously and some of them are kind of just like and then moving on. But like the complaint on IGN was like there's too much cheese talk. But if you know the theme of the video game, it's about this detectives in noir situation, so it's all black and white, or most of 99% of it is all black and white. And like it's, they're talking like in the gangsta style and like, things like that. And then their currency, their food, their drinks is all cheese, right? Because they're mice, and it's like, and they make some cheesy puns like, like, and that's kind of like the thing. And they're like, too much cheese talk. I like noirs. This is too cheesy. And it's like, but it's not like an actual Casablanca. Like, I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know if Casablanca is really noir, but I think it is. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Was it supposed to be taken seriously? It was supposed to be fun. My review is I really, really like it. Like, I think it's fun. It's a shooter game, which it's like something new for me. And I enjoy it a lot. I'm still going through it. It's kind of a long game. um but it's not bad. Like, you don't want to play it in one sitting, that's for sure. um and the only thing that I would like, and this is just me because I understand it's a shooting game, I understand probably 95% of the people would that enjoy the game probably would disagree with me on this, because I understand that's not its purpose. I would like more of, like, maybe a little bit more puzzles, more of the mystery aspect, and maybe just a tad bit less shooting, because it does seem like you go in one room and there's a shootout, and then you like get to look at two things, and then there's another big shootout, and it's fine. Like, it's okay. I think that's the point of the game. It's a shooting game, right? Like, I get it. So it's fine. I just hope if they expand it, maybe they'll have more of that, but then maybe other people will get pissed because there's less shooting and more of the investigating part. So I'm not too upset about it. Like, it's just something that I would prefer. But other than that, I really, really like it. The characters are really good. The voice acting's great. The drawing's fantastic. Apparently it's all hand drawn. I'm having a lot of fun playing it a lot. So definitely recommend that if you're interested. Oh, and the best thing about it is if you press a button, they'll have like a little, like, it's like a little paint thingy where it tells you where to go, because I am the most directionally challenged person. You don't have to use it, obviously, if you're someone that likes to, because I like to explore, but then when I don't, I literally, I'll start exploring, and then all of a sudden I'm literally like lost in like a vent escalator thingy, and I don't know how to get out, and like, so I press the little button, I'm like, like, because I in real life, I, for some reason, I wasn't born with the gift of being able to be directionally formatted. Like, I just, like, I turn one corner and I have no idea where I'm at. Like, if I'm in a neighborhood and I usually go right, and one day I had to go left out of my neighborhood, and I don't know how to get back home. Like, it's that bad. Like, it's thing. So I've gotten lost in the weirdest places. So for video games, especially playing third person, because I don't usually play third person, just so needed, because I like to watch the little guys jump and move and see what I'm doing, and you can't really do that here. You just see what you're doing peripheral, or I don't know how to describe it, but like just seeing, like, whatever, y'all know what I'm saying. And yeah, it's a little it's a little different for me, because it's just like, it's, it's just different. But I really, really like this game. So, and I don't think it would have been as good if it was just me seeing the whole, me being the little icon jumping around. So I really like it. I highly recommend it. And yeah, and there's different levels you can do, hard, easy, medium, and hard. So really appreciate that. And you can change it throughout the game. So say like you're maybe stuck on a boss or something, you could change it and stuff. So it's really good. It's really cute. I already am looking, apparently they're making more DLCs for it. So I'm very excited for that as well. Because I already looked it up. I'm like, are they gonna make a sequel? They're like, it was just released in April, and I'm like, fuck you. Like, but yeah. So they're gonna come with more DCL content and things like that. And yeah, again, highly recommend if you're looking for something fun to play. But I just thought the review wars were so funny. Like, it's just like, and in the midst of it, I'm watching David content, so it's kind of funny to go from like, it's a video game about mice detectives. Of course, they're gonna have to talk about cheese, and then I go to another channel that's recommended, and it's like, and the dismembered body, and I'm like, oh my god, like, so that's the content I've been viewing. But anyway, let's move on to probably the David content. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the David thing because, again, it's a case I'm following. There's a lot of cases going on, but like I said, I'm trying to keep my channel more supernatural based. It's just I'm also really into true crime, and I feel like there's a lot of overlap with true crime and supernatural. and I agree with this case, which I'll touch on it briefly with this discussion. But the updates with the David thing is like worse than I even thought. Like it. Here's my thing. My idea of what happened was that he ended her life in a fit of rage, right? Or there was an overdose situation that he was, which would just be not maybe just as bad as cold blood, but like, you know, ending her life, in cold blood versus like an accident, but covering it up in a very weird way. And I say accident because in quotes, because she shouldn't be there. She shouldn't have been around that freak. Like, let's put context here. But I thought it was something like that, either a fit of rage or he purposely overdosed her or something like that, right? Where it was like, it was just something like that. It seems like from whatever is coming from the recent hearings is that, and based on the evidence the prosecutors are hinting at and showing and giving, starting to make the picture clearer, it seems like it was planned. Like, and that to me is like sick. Um, and I bring humor into things like this because I get emotional with stuff like this. So you have to make light of dark situations, right? And you know, I don't know, some of the best comedians, like I'm not a comedian at all, but clearly, but like, some of the best comedians are good. The reason you laugh is because they're good at trying to bring comfort in a world that sucks, right? Robin Williams was so good at that. He's one of my favorite entertainers ever. And like, so when I was laughing earlier about the content thing, that's where it comes from. Because when you watch it and you actually talk about it, it's like I guess because I'm saying it out loud and not just talking about Kermie with it and not just having my own thoughts with it, it's like emotional because he literally like planned her murder. Like it seemed like what happened was there was a case being built against him or something like that. That's what, and again, this is speculation based on the information that's coming out. And because she's underage and maybe basically he like kidnapped her for like a year. All right. She ran away from home. And like apparently when she was out, people noticed that she was drugged up a lot. She had meth in her system. Like, and she was with David this whole time. Her family couldn't get in contact with her. I feel so bad for her family. We want to get into that. And they're being private right now. And I think people should respect their privacy. They don't have to speak out, right? Like, we're not putting judgment on the family, right? They, do what they need to do, right? But like this little child was basically kidnapped. Like, what's the term where it's like, uh, how, where it's like you're kidnapped, but you're going along with it or whatever. And maybe something happened where she started working with the police and there became an investigation on him. And apparently what people are saying is that he didn't want her to be a witness in her own victim, basically, and expose him with all his wrongdoings. And by the way, there was a lot of child underage content, let's put it that way, on his phone. I don't know if it's all Celeste, but it seems like it's more than just Celeste. So let's put it that way, on his phone and on his devices, right? And so it seems like she was going to help expose him. I think maybe there was an investigation going on because they said in the documents that he did the crime to put an end to the investigation that was on him, right? So that's where this assumption is coming from. And so basically, which is, he's so stupid. And this is the thing. People talk about like, oh, sorry, I'm jumping around. Let me go back. So he basically lured her, that there was a terminology for it where he basically lured her in order to ended her life, dismembered her, and then stupidly got rid of her body in the Tesla truck. And they are thinking this happened around April 23rd is when the event happened, which is crazy to go look at his social media back around that time and him doing interviews in between those time and being It's crazy how people can mask themselves, man. It's and imitate things. I saw him with another artist doing this, like, I love you and you love me, like some kind of Barney bullshit, like, to get the kids involved, and, him being so nice to his fans, and just how people can put on this freaking facade. And it's just insane. It's like they're literally looking at people, how they interact with humans that have a soul, and like imitating it, right? And it's one of those things where it's like Ted Bundy. He was so good at charming. He was so good at, like, trying to like relate to people, and trying to, oh, I did this horrible thing, but look, I can relate to you about religion. I can relate to you about, pornography, so dangerous, and blah, blah, blah. And they're just so good at it. I mean, I've said this before, at the end of Ted Bundy's trial, the judge, okay, he's getting throwing in jail, going on death row for these crimes. And the judge goes, "You would have made a really good lawyer. This is such a shame." That's how good they are at manipulating people, right? Like I like it's like the judge is like, "I'm so sorry, your future, your future would have been so bright, man." It's like, no, your future sucks because you're a piece of shit and you have no soul. And I was rewatching some of his interviews, or watching them for the first time, because I honestly had no idea who this guy was until the thing. Like, I've heard his songs, I'm not that removed, but I didn't know who the artist was, right? Until this case picked up. And so I started watching some of his old content. And here's the thing, I'm pretty good at, and I'm just an, I'm not good at a lot of things. Let's put it this way. Don't ask me to do your taxes. Don't ask me to dance. Don't ask me to sing. Like, I'm just, like, like, but I am pretty good. And the only reason I say this is I've had friends validate this for me that I trust, that tell me the truth, right? And I'm pretty good at picking up body signals. I'm pretty good at maybe reading the energy of people, I guess is the right word. Not I'm not always right, but I'm pretty good at that, right? To the point sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. And I think a lot of women have that ability, right? But watching his interviews back, it's so clear that, but here's the thing. I'm gonna back this up. If I didn't know all this stuff, because I'm watching this stuff with all this information, right? So keep that in mind. If I watched it before, I have an idea, I'd probably just watch it and be like, this guy seems a little weird, but like, he seems harmless. He's, into the whole world that I'm not into, because I'm not really into anime or anything like that. Like, I would just chalk it up to that. Like, I'd be like, like, not my vibe, but whatever. But watching it with all this information, so let's put it that way, right? Watching with all this information, like, you can tell there's certain parts where he either wants to direct the conversation back to him, because like he's complimenting someone, he's like, "Oh yeah, she's great," and then he'll move the conversation back to himself, right? Because it's not about him, right? um he would do things like, I'm trying to give like warning signs or like ideas from what I'm not an expert in this, I'm not a criminologist or anything like that, but from what I gather, like, he moves the conversation about himself. He's very proud of his work, and you could say, oh, he's a young kid, he's 21, he's excited about his music, or even some of these interviews he was like 20, 19, like, so he's a young guy, like, little cocky, like, admittingly so. But it's there's like a difference between like being cocky and like your eyes shifting when the conversation isn't about you, right? And it's like a anger almost, and they switch it back to them. There's a difference between like, pay attention to me, like, I'm so awesome and my career starting, and like da da da, like a young adult would be, that's excited about the career, right? Like, Lady Gaga was very overly confident when she started. Like, there's like a difference where she's like, I think I'm the best singer. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference like that, where it's like bold versus like being polite, but you can kind of see the anger thing, and like getting back to the direction of him. And that's what I spotted with David, right? And I'm not going to pull all the interviews because I was just watching them randomly. But, and then, minus all the other, like, putting underage people on thing and talking about weird stuff, and like, just his hobbies and stuff. Because you can like, how many women love true crime and stuff as an interest, right? To like look at, doesn't mean all women or all men that are into true crime are murderers, right? So you got to separate that. But when you watch his interviews, you can just, I don't know, it's a vibe. It's you change the subject, you give someone else a compliment, and they will compliment around with you, right? But you can see a shift in their face. You can see a shift of like almost anger, rather jealousy and anger are different, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, like blah blah blah's great too, but so am I. Like, there's a difference between that versus like kind of quiet and then like, yeah, da da da, and then like shifting back to his content, right? It's difference between anger and jealousy, in my opinion. And that's what I saw with some of his videos. And he really liked to go back to him, and he really cared about his image. Apparently he got fired for Starbucks from stealing, and he made this bull BS story about how someone gave him a code. He used the code for $14 and they fired him over it. I don't think that's true looking back at it now, looking back at his history. But he was so like, he talked about that story for like 15 minutes, and it's like no one was asking him about it, but he cared about his image so much about that. Like, he could have just said, hey, yeah, I stole from Starbucks, got fired, I was a stupid kid, like, my bad, bro, like, not gonna do it again, I know it's wrong, like, you know what I mean? Like, something like that versus like, I didn't, da da da, and he made it this huge elaborate story to make him look like the funny guy. And the thing, his image, he cared about so freaking much. And that's where I get to the point of people thinking it was stupid. And some people try and make the argument, or maybe not even try to make the argument, bring it up that they might bring up like, how stupid can you be to leave her body in his car that got towed because he left it out and someone towed it because they weren't doing anything with it? How stupid can you be to leave the body like that? And he's not stupid in the sense of like, obviously he's articulate, obviously he kept a double life, which is, I'm sure, not easy. He was able to manipulate a lot of people, so he's not stupid, but he's stupid in the sense of living in his own world, right? Living in his own bottle bubble and caring about his image more than anything. And when you care about something that much, sometimes you just don't think too much, right? It's like when you're nervous about something and you're panicking about something that you love more than anything else, and let's be real, that was his image. He probably wasn't thinking clearly. He probably started realizing he was getting investigated on. His mind was racing. He probably then had this, because whether we like it or not, he's technically an artist. Artists live in their heads, had this like image of him doing this and getting away with it and being like, I don't know, she ran away, like, she was troubled, blah, blah, blah. Like, she did drugs, even though he's the one supplying the drugs, but we'll get into that. I'm sure he was like, to keep her as her puppet. Like, like all these things are running through his head. His image is his most important thing. So he does the deed. He thinks he does it perfectly or whatever. And then the way that he was planning to get rid of the body didn't go to plan. And so he probably held some goons help take care of it and didn't go to plan that way either. And then he just tried to pretend it didn't exist. And I think we've all been there where we've had, and I know this is like a different problem than most people's problems, but let's just say like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something where you're just like, I just don't even. It'll go away. It'll just go away, right? The universe will take care of it, and it'll just go away, right? Like, that's how I. Sorry, Buddy's trying to. If you can see Buddy right now, he's trying to sneak his way on the bed. He always checks to see if his sister is on the bed first, and then he like sees it, and he's like, "Oh!" And then I just saw his like little face pop up from the end of the bed, like trying to sneak on. He's so cute. But um, um, I don't like David. David's not a nice person. He's a bad person. I go, he hooked people. We don't like him. No. And he just he just wiggled his butt up here. He's the most clumsiest, goofiest dog in the world, but he's also like super athletic because he's like, he's muscular and stuff, but like he's also like trying to get on things. He's not agile, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, if you hear him, he's joined us. I have things to say. I have things to say. Okay. But he's such a goof. So I really wish I got that on camera because literally he was just like at the end of my bed on his bed, and all of a sudden his head just popped up, going, "Kitty's not there." So anyway, hang on one second, let me get him settled. All right, so that was a nice buddy intermission. Um, he's now laying on me, and I like half off the bed because that's where we're situated. But yeah, so anyway, sorry, I love my dog. I love my cats. I love my pets. That's all I want. Are my boyfriend and my pets. um, but uh, yeah. So um, yeah. So basically, to go back to everything, it's not the fact that he's dumb, right? It's the fact that his ego and his self-interest took over, right? And it's like, again, think about it. Like when I play video games and I'm like getting like playing that mouse pi game, right? And like I'll watch other people play, right? And like they'll be more because they've played video games longer or things like that. And the like I'll watch them play to kind of like see how they handle certain things, and I'm like, how did they like do this shootout so easily and so well when I'm over here and I'm like running into a wall, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's because I'm panicking, right? And it's because I'm like freaking out, right? And for them, they're just like, okay, I see my enemies. I'm gonna go on top of this building and shoot from here. And I'm like, oh, I can do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I start doing that, right? Well, it's like the same thing with life, right? In these situations where it's like he panicked and he didn't think about it all the way through. He thought all the way through, but he didn't have all the logistics. 2026, it is so hard to commit a crime. Like it's so hard. And I get the technology grows on for the bad side too, but it's cameras are everywhere, phones are everywhere. If you want to research about, ending someone's life, you need to do it like 2 years in advance, bro, and print out the documents and then burn them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't just, they will find it. Even if you delete it, they will find it if you did it on your phone, right? It's, hiding the body. It's like so hard because there's cameras everywhere. You can't just, it the best bet, and then obviously don't do it like you don't think this is, is to try and frame it as an accident, right? Because, and even then, like it's so hard to do, and which it should be, right? But in his mind, he also seemed like he was homeschooled. His mom seemed to be a big mommy's boy. Like he seemed to be a mama's boy from all his interviews. He's always talking about his mom, and that's nothing on the mom. Like she's going through enough right now, and if she believes her son, that's her business. I think that's stupid, but yeah, it's her son, right? Like if someone, it's a weird predicament, right? So we're not going to go into judgment with that, but she was he was a mama's boy. He seemed, I don't want to say the word spoiled, but he seemed like, I mean, he became famous at like 19, right? Like, so he was spoiled, he was loved, and then he became famous. Like the world revolved around him, right? And so for him, he thought he could get away with this because he probably got away with like everything in his life, and he just probably didn't even think this was, because he has no soul, that big of a deal, right? He didn't think Celeste was that big of a deal. Well, she's a very big deal. Um, but that's, and I know that sounds harsh and gross, but that's probably what he was thinking, right? In his mind, because he's David, right? And that's how they think, right? Someone said this, and I forget who it was. I think it was it was something I watched, and I really wish I remembered it. But it's, and so ever since then, I try and think in different ways than me, because it's like with the bad guys or the people that like do bad things, right? Because not all people that do bad things are bad people, but we know this. But with the bad people, it's like you got to think in a way that you wouldn't think, right? It's like, well, why would someone do this because of this? Like, why would he kill her over that? He could have just, done this, or, it's like, because you don't think in their logic, right? Like, you don't think in their thing. You have to think like them, right? And it's really hard to do because most people have souls. Most people that even have done bad things have souls. People said in the courtroom, or like it's very hard to twist yourself around in those things, right? Like it's hard to put yourself in his shoes when you're a decent person in such a bad person's way. But some people were saying in the courtroom that it just felt like an evil aura, in the courtroom, and I totally believe in that stuff. Like, I even before I started my spiritual quote unquote journey or supernatural journey, whatever you want to call it, I had vibes where I'm like, I don't like this area. I've been at parties before where I'm like, I feel weird. I've been at, situations, even just like at school or things like that, where I'm just like, I don't like it here. And I didn't know. And it wasn't like my first thought was like, oh, this is dark. There must be devil occult. It wasn't like that. But it was just like, I don't feel comfortable here. I feel icky. And nothing bad is going on. It's just felt like I wasn't wanted, or I was wanted in it, or the vibes were off, bro. The vibes were off. And like, and I think that's really important to pay attention to, especially this day and age, because like I said, there are good sides to this universe and there's really, really dark sides. And the dark side is really, because if you ask a decent person, right, a normal everyday person that's just living their life, going through life, do you want to be on the good side of something or bad side? They're going to say good side, right? The thing. So there's more persuasion on the bad side, right, to get them on their team, right? And there's more coaxing that needs to happen. So what do? They imitate what would be the good side, right? And I think that's what happens in the supernatural world as well as the human world, like just everyday life, right? Um, you're joining a gang, right? Young kids joining gangs, right? They don't have a family, so they say, we'll be your family. Do all this crap for us, and we'll be your family. We'll take care of you because the world wasn't taking care of you, so we will. You end up in prison at 18 because you murder someone for them, right? But how do they do that? Getting your vulnerabilities, making you feel like you're worthless without them, making you feel trapped, making you feel like this is your family. Like I'm going on a spill, so I'm gonna move on. The David case is way worse than I thought. I mean, I thought it was bad, but I didn't think it was this bad. And the worst part is he was 21 and he was just starting his career. Imagine catching him at his early 30s, right? Like all the other stuff he could have caused in between there, right? So, and I heard the judge is strict. I heard she was the one that gave Daniel Matterson, I think that's his name, the guy that was on that 70 show, 30 years plus for his crime. He's probably not going to get out of prison. She threw the book at him. She doesn't mess around. I don't think it's going to be, I don't think any of the thing is, his trial wasn't public, so there wasn't any cameras for that trial. If you can see Buddy right now, oh my god. I don't think there's going to be any cameras for this trial. I know for the preliminary hearings there aren't. I don't think there's going to be ever. She seems like a judge that just doesn't mess around. Like she seems like one of those people where it's just like you can't really say a lot of words to her, and she's going to be like, all right. Like she seems very by the book. Um, I like that for this case. Yeah, and the other thing is they had 40 terabytes, and I don't know. The funny thing is, I was looking for something like that, a terabyte thingy to like download my content and stuff like that to like free up space on my computer and all that. And so I just figured out kind of what a terabyte means. That's a 40 That's a. They have so much evidence against that man. Like it's like they were coming in. They were like, nope. Like they have. I mean, 40. Like it's a lot. Like I don't think people understand. Like it's a lot of evidence against him. And it was so funny because the defense team was like, we want to do this. We want to rush this case and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden the prosecutor's like, are you sure about that? And I'm like, why? And it's like, we have 40 terabytes of information that you might want to start looking at. And they're like, wait, maybe not. And I think the defense is like, nope. So yeah. Also, sorry, buddy. He's just like, you should see him. He's literally wrapped in a ball staring at me. But like against me, like he basically I'm cradling like a baby, 75-pound baby. But um, but there's 40 pounds, and apparently the cause of her death was stab wounds, apparently by a sharp object. They don't know what the object was, or they didn't identify it yet, but apparently it was stab wounds. So it wasn't like an overdose. It wasn't, something else. It was stab wounds. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to say hope. I know Celeste is in a way better place. And the sad thing is she was 14. People keep talking about he was 21. She was 13, 12 when she met him. Like, she had no chance. She had no chance. Like, I remember being 12, and if some celebrity was like, hey, like, and I'm like, you know, you're cool. Like, do you imagine being 12 years old and like, you being like, you know, scouted by your one of your favorite celebrities? Like, she had no chance. She had no freaking chance, bro. Like, and there was videos of her like shouting at neighbors or something like that, and some people, I don't think people were making it to make her as a bad person, but they're like, oh, like, seemed like she was upset or something. Yeah, she was a 12, 13-year-old girl going through teenage years in a really messed up situation that she had no business being in. Imagine, most preteens throw, even if they're good kids, throw temper tantrums right now, and she was just around adults all the time doing drugs and being, you know taking advantage of at like pre-teenage. Like, it like, she didn't have a chance to be a kid. She didn't have a chance of her preteens. Like, it makes me so angry for her. Like, um she didn't have a chance. Like, she didn't have a chance of a career like David had. She didn't have a chance to just grow up and do sports or cheerleading, or have her first boyfriend that was not taking advantage of her and throwing her online like some kind of freak. Like, she had no chance, and it makes me so angry, bro. Like, I don't like talking about that stuff. I just try and focus more on David because it's easier to talk about, because he lured her back into her place to end it. So, um, I think we're gonna leave it there. I'm still working on the thing. I know there was no supernatural stuff, but keep in mind, with the supernatural relating to this case, I really think the bad side's very good at imitating the light, right? And I think that's the one thing you can take away for the supernatural world. But yeah, I don't think David's going to do very well in jail. Let's put it that way. I was looking at his social media, and this man lived off DoorDash, which, no shame, I do too. DoorDash and his anime and video games and making music. And it's the one thing I like about true crime is, like, when you're interviewing them, like, say they're in jail or something like that, and you're talking about like something that's so mundane, like video games in the grand scheme of things, or looking forward to a movie and stuff like that, and they don't have that anymore, right? They don't have that anymore. And it's like the amount of, like, when I joke about with my boyfriend, I'm like, I can't go to prison, like, there's no DoorDash and there's no Netflix, like, you know what I mean? And it sounds so silly, but that's comfort. Like, that's stuff to look forward to. There's no, I don't get to go to the movies, I don't get to see, you know what I mean? And it's like something as simple as that being taken away from you, because he had it all, bro. He had it all. His career was booming, and he just let this gross side of him come out, which the sad and the contradicting and the weird part about it is his mom tried to protect him from, right? Because she seemed very religious. She seemed very like, don't do this, don't do that. And it still happened either way. So, anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. Like I said, I'm sorry there was not too much supernatural talk, but this case really got to me. And other than that, hope everyone's doing well. Stay curious and stay tuned into the supernatural. Thanks for watching.